Good evening and welcome to ITV News. This is Monday night's calendar.
Thank you for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
A family of 4 are among 6 people tragically killed when a motorcycle and car collided near Barnsley. Police are working to establish exactly what happened.
My hearts go out to the family and loved ones who have lost people in this incident. This is a truly horrendous collision, which are currently in the early stages of investigating.
Also tonight, a man appears in court charged with arson after allegedly setting a bus on fire during violent disturbances in Leeds.
Trouble on the tracks, a stark warning from railway bosses after this youngster was caught leaping from a platform in West Yorkshire.
Poo Power scientists are kicking up a stink about a new natural way to heat our homes. We're in Sheffield to find out more.
And I will, of course, have your forecast for the week ahead a little later on.
But first, police are trying to piece together exactly what caused a devastating crash between Wakefield and Barnsley, which left 6 people dead, including a couple and 2 of their young children.
Shane Roller and his partner Shannon Morgan were in a car with 9-year-old Ruby and 4-year-old Lily when it was in collision with a motorcycle yesterday afternoon. Well, tragically, all 4, along with a man and a woman on the bike, were pronounced dead at the scene.
Well, Martin Fisher is beside the A61 for us tonight. And Martin, what more could you tell us?
Well, tonight, the A61, just to the north of Barnsley, where this crash happened 24 hours ago, remains closed. If I just move to one side and allow our cameraman to zoom in, hopefully you'll be able to see that the police are still working on the road to try and establish exactly what happened. What we do know is that 6 people lost their lives, including a 9-year-old girl and a 4-year-old girl. Well, I've been getting reaction from around the community today. A happy family snap, but Mum, Dad and 2 daughters shown here lost their lives in a moment as their car collided with a motorbike just north of Barnsley yesterday afternoon. Shane Roller and his partner Shannon Morgan were killed at the scene, along with their children Lily and Ruby. The family's other daughter was not in the car. Commenting on social media, Mr. Roller's brother said his heart is broken into a million pieces. Today, police were still at the scene.
I know him as a local lad from Haversley. They were a lovely family. Bright, cheerful. They really were. Like, just to be travelling that road and then something like that happen, it's devastating, isn't it?
A stunned community has already reacted with sympathy to those affected. Close to the crash site, Lakeside Methodist Church has opened a book of condolence and lit candles for those who lost their lives.
I think at a time like this, people are just looking for some way of expressing their grief and for others to express their support. So that can be done in symbolic ways, like lighting a candle or saying a prayer or laying some flowers. So I think all of those things are important.
A man and woman who were on the motorbike that collided with the family's car also died at the scene. They have not yet been named.
My hearts go out to the family and loved ones who have lost people in this incident. This is a truly horrendous collision, which are currently in the early stages of investigating. I would ask that anybody who witnessed the incident or has dash cam footage, please contact the Major Collision and Inquiry Team.
The speed limit on this stretch of road is 40 miles an hour, but residents have said there have been other incidents on this section of the A61 and concerns about traffic speed.
I think we have constantly have residents complain about this stretch of road out of Wakefield, A61 to Barnsley, and of course the speeding has been a problem all the way.
A GoFundMe page set up by the Roller family has already raised thousands of pounds, as the community here still struggles to understand how 6 people so suddenly could lose their lives on a quiet Sunday afternoon.
So, Martin, a real outpouring of support there from the local community. How's the fundraiser going?
Well, it's going amazingly, really. Just to give you an idea of the scale, it's reached £81,000, and that's to support the Roller family, of course. There is a surviving daughter who's now orphaned. But another appeal tonight, an appeal from police. They want anyone with dashcam footage you may have seen either the motorbike or the Ford Focus car in the run-up to get in touch.
Martin, live from Barnsley, thank you very much.
And of course, there's more on our website. Well, a man accused of setting fire to a bus on a night of widespread violence in Leeds has appeared in court.
The 37-year-old father was brought before magistrates in the city this lunchtime. He'd been arrested following disturbances in Hare Hills on Thursday. Well, Michael Billington can bring us up to speed on this. Michael, just tell us what happened in court today.
Well, Justin Dobra, who, as you say, is 37 and a father of two, he's a Romanian national, now lives in Leeds. He's accused of violent disorder and arson with recklessness as to whether life was endangered. Now, today, magistrates heard that he intended to deny the charges when he appears at Crown Court next month. Now, it became a defining image, didn't it, of the chaos that erupted in Hare Hills on Thursday evening. That bus up in flames, and then its charred frame, the wreckage left in the street the following day. Mr Dobra is accused of setting it on fire by standing next to it with a lighter during the disturbance, but the court heard that he's indicated he will plead not guilty. The District Judge Tim Capstick told him, "These two offences you are charged with are serious allegations. One can only be dealt with at the Crown Court."
And of course, we were holding our breath, weren't we, over the weekend, hoping that there wouldn't be any more trouble, and that seems to have been the case.
Yeah, certainly far calmer over the weekend than we saw the scenes that we saw on Thursday night. I mean, it's thought up to 1,500 people were in the streets that evening, and the mayhem that unfolded when police were called to assist social workers who were dealing with a family in that area has been described as shameful. Now, over the weekend, West Yorkshire Police have had more officers on patrol, and a number of community leaders have been working to calm tensions. On Saturday, the Mayor of West Yorkshire tweeted her thanks to those who'd helped to de-escalate the situation. As for the police investigation into exactly what happened on Thursday night, well, a number of arrests have been made, and currently 5 people who were arrested on suspicion of violent disorder are still being held this evening.
OK, Michael, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
You're watching Monday's calendar. Thanks for being with us this evening. Still to come on the programme tonight. Dogged determination. We head out with the Leeds marathon runner who's getting some canine company as he prepares to represent Team GB at the Paris Olympics.
And looking south and east today, drier and brighter. Looking north and west, cloudier skies and a few showers. But what's in store for the rest of the week? I'll have all the detail a little later on.
Shocking footage of a child leaping onto railway tracks in Leeds has been released as Network Rail aims to deter trespassing during the school holidays. This incident in Bramley, which was caught on CCTV, forms part of a worrying trend over the last year, which has involved more than 300 children. Apart from the obvious danger to the children involved, incidents like this caused nearly 200 hours of delays.
We need people to understand that as much as the British Railway is really, really safe, people are going and choosing to do things that are dangerous on the railway, and most times they just don't realise the dangers that are there.
2 men have been arrested following a rape that took place in a cemetery in Scarborough. It happened in the early hours of yesterday morning on Dean Road. 2 men aged 18 and 21 have been arrested and remain in custody. The victim is receiving specialist support while extensive inquiries continue.
The former Yorkshire cricketer Sir Geoffrey Boycott has been readmitted to hospital after developing pneumonia following cancer surgery. The 83-year-old had been discharged on Friday after a successful operation to remove a tumour from his throat, but his family have said he's back under hospital care.
The mother of Ben Needham says that she's anxiously awaiting a DNA test result from a Danish man who came forward claiming to be her missing son. The 20-month-old from Sheffield disappeared from the Greek island of Kos 33 years ago this week. Now, in recent years, there have been hundreds of sightings and 2 excavations on the island. Ben was last seen at the remote farmhouse with family members in July 1991. His mum, Kerry, says waiting for the result is difficult for the family.
You're not only dealing with, the memories, the painful day, remembering that awful day, and sitting waiting for news as well. We do try, because of past experiences, not to read too much into it, not to try and make things fit. We just have to sit back and wait and be as patient as we possibly can until we get the results.
And that was Kerry Needham there. Well, next tonight, to news that this year's harvest could be down more than 20% due to the consistent poor weather.
This week, the sunshine has finally arrived, but the UK has seen 11 named storms so far this season, and the repeated downpours have left fields waterlogged and produce at risk of rotting.
Without a plan to better manage water and protect farms from flooding, farmers are warning that the nation's food security will be at risk. Catherine Walker has this report.
With incessant rain and waterlogged fields, it's been a challenging year for our farmers, especially Phil Rowbottom in Wakefield. The damp conditions have destroyed some of his crops, meaning he's set to lose around 10% of his annual earnings.
Wheat's not been healthy over the winter. We've lost wheat to flooding, to drowning. A lot of the wheat has failed. And it's just lost money. So at the end of the day, it will impact our profit on the farm. So yeah, we're going to lose 10% off our bottom line.
The last 18 months have been some of the wettest on record, and the poor growing conditions are predicted to have a huge impact on this year's harvest. The latest figures from a survey of farmers this spring shows the amount of wheat planted this year is down by 15%. Winter barley is down by 22%, and oilseed rape is down by 28%, the biggest reduction since the 1980s. And it's not just arable farmers feeling bogged down. The wet weather meant Jamie Quinn in Scunthorpe couldn't leave his cows outside, placing a strain on the animals and his finances.
Normally our cattle are out until at least the beginning of November. This year we had to bring them in mid-September. Obviously that meant that we were then having to start feeding our crop of hay that we'd made over the summer. So basically we ran out of hay, and we've actually had to buy some in. Same with the straw for the animals' bedding.
With climate change set to bring wetter winters, farmers want the new government to prioritise water management and better protect farms.
We need to start looking at our food security. We need to ensure that we can feed our nation. But actually it affects everybody. What goes on with water affects absolutely everybody. We need to be able to direct the water where it needs to go. We need to be able to store water in the times of, as the Met Office has said, warmer, wetter winters, but quite often very, very hot summers.
The new Labour government told ITV News that boosting food security is a priority, and they will set up a new flood resilience task force to protect farmers. But with the bleak weather casting a cloud over this year's harvest, farmers across the region hope a change in government will drive a change in their prospects. Catherine Walker, ITV News.
And of course, Kerry will be here with the weather shortly. Before that, the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30 with more on our main story about that fatal crash between Barnsley and Wakefield. Here's Charlene White.
Coming up at 6:30, Kamala Harris has vowed to earn and win the presidential election after Joe Biden drops out of the running. It's another dramatic twist in the run-up to November's election. We'll have all the analysis from Washington. Also tonight, 6 people, including 2 children, killed in a horror crash at Wakefield. And Team GB's youngest athlete gets a lesson on the track from her idol ahead of the Paris Olympics. Join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Thank you, Charlene. Now, next tonight to the Sheffield scientists who are developing a new way of heating our homes.
Yes, apologies if you're having your tea right now, but this perhaps isn't the topic you were expecting to see. That's the warning done.
Yes, so the project sees sludge from human sewage being transformed into energy, and if successful, it could help the water industry tackle the issue of disposing of millions of tonnes of human waste, plus helping the UK reach its sustainability goals. Amrit Birdie has more.
The way we heat our homes has been a hot topic for many years, with most of us still relying on traditional fossil fuels such as gas and oil. But the calls from environmental groups to switch to greener energy sources have never been louder. And one of those green alternatives might be more familiar than you think. A project that hopes to transform the gases from human sewage into energy to heat our homes has been given the green light. I decided to visit the workshop in Sheffield to find out exactly how the process would work.
So Malcolm, this all looks very impressive and technical. Are you okay to sort of talk me through it and explain how it relates to the wider project?
So what we're using is what's called a hydrothermal process. We take up the sludge and take it into our first furnace here. In here we've got what's called a heat exchanger, which in this case is just a coil of pipe that heats the sludge flowing through it up to the temperature. It comes through into a second furnace where we have a catalyst bed. And because of the temperature and pressure, we have a short, brutal reaction that breaks down the organic material that's in the sludge and releases the gases that we want to come out.
But what do the people of Doncaster think of the idea of human waste heating their homes?
Yeah, don't see why not, as long as they get rid of the smell.
You're not going to get the smell when it's treated. You know, it's methane, isn't it? So, yeah, why not? Anything to save the planet.
I think it's a good idea. We need to recycle more and more. So the more we recycle, the better it will be, and better off the planet.
The process of transforming poo to power also creates clean wastewater, which those behind the project hope will reduce the likelihood of raw sewage being released into our waterways.
There are consequences, environmental consequences of sewage sludge, disposal. And we can, at the same time as helping with net zero, helping with climate change and global warming, also help reduce pollution in our environment, pollution in our seas and rivers. So it is quite a broad, solution that we're trying to provide here.
The project is still in the early stages, with plenty more testing to be done. But maybe one day what we flush won't be going to waste. Amrit Birdie, ITV News.
Interesting stuff. Thank you very much, Amrit. Now then, time for some sport, and Arif is with us in the studio. And Arif, we were very close, weren't we, to having a very unlikely major win in the golf this weekend?
Oh, so close, Ian, but it just wasn't to be for Dan Brown. But this man can be immensely proud of his work this weekend after finishing 10th at his first major at the Open Championship with his home course in Northallerton this evening, and has been reflecting on his week.
It's still a bit of a struggle to sort of process it all. It's still a little bit of disappointment from yesterday, but obviously then delighted with finishing top 10. If someone had told me that at the start of the week, obviously I would have been extremely pleased with the way the week went.
And finally, from me, the Olympic Games gets underway this week with the opening ceremony on Friday. Among the hundreds of athletes representing Team GB over the next few weeks is, of course, a strong contingent from our region. We're going to be introducing you to some of them that will be making their debuts. We start with a marathon runner from Leeds, who has a couple of four-legged friends to thank him to getting him prepared for Paris, as Chris Stocks reports.
Try telling Phil Sesman running is a solo sport. Twice a day, every day, Phil is joined on the towpath next to the Leeds-Liverpool Canal by his faithful companions Haile and Kipchoge, named after the famous marathon runners Haile Gebrselassie and Eliud Kipchoge.
I've always wanted dogs, and to have two that come out running with me every single day and do all the easy runs with me and keep me company and also keep me grounded as well. It makes a big difference.
Question is, are you keeping up with them or are they keeping up with you?
You see, I get asked this quite a lot. Sometimes while I'm out running, people will say who would win, or they're joking around. And I can guarantee you I would have both of them at a marathon distance. Over a short distance, yeah, they'd both definitely have me. But over a marathon, I think they'd give up first.
Giving up is not in Phil's mantra. From a young child, he's always dreamed of competing at the Olympics. After moving to Leeds from London in 2012 to study, Phil became a junior doctor, but running was always a passion. And in 2021 ran his first marathon, the London Marathon. He came 7th, the first Brit home. And 2 years later finished ahead of the one and only Sir Mo Farah.
I knew training had gone well going into that one as well, and I knew I could run a PB and get down towards faster times. But yeah, I didn't expect that I'd be closing in on Mo Farah in the final couple miles and overhauling him in the final straight down the mile.
Did you say anything to him as you passed him?
No, I didn't.
Give them all by the end, did you?
No. A lot of friends said I should have, kind of thing. But yeah, there was the amount of like social media comments saying like, oh, he should have let him win. It was his final. Or let him have it. It was his final marathon. And who is this guy and all that. And it was quite satisfying to think. Yeah, it was a nice moment for me. And I'll never get that opportunity again. So I had to take it.
And it's that ruthlessness that spurred Phil on to Olympic qualification at the Seville Marathon in February. And he'll be joined in Paris by fellow Yorkshire runners Callie Hauger-Thackeray from Sheffield and Bradford's Emile Caress, who's a regular training partner of Phil and the dogs.
We've been on this journey together and we're both reaching our peak capabilities or getting close to it, and kind of hopefully putting kind of Leeds Marathon running on the map a bit, and that kind of makes us proud.
Do you push each other along then?
Yeah.
Do you think 100%. You'd be the marathon runner you are without him?
No
chance. Would he say the same to you?
Yeah, I don't know if he'd say the same. I think he probably would.
Phil thinks Emile is one to keep an eye on, but the man they all have to beat is Kipchoge, not the dog, the Kenyan, who's aiming to win a third successive Olympic gold.
This summer will be the first time I actually line up on a start line with him. So I'm quite excited about that. And a journalist I do know, he was over in Kenya recently, and did confirm that human Kipchoge is aware of canine Kipchoge. So I was quite proud about that and quite pleased.
Well, Phil knows not to expect any favours in Paris from the human version, but when he gets home, the canine version and his pal will be waiting to go for a run with their best friend. Chris Dawkes, ITV News, Leeds.
Surprised he doesn't trip up over those dogs.
Lovely, aren't they? Thanks to Chris and Arif for the sport.
Yes.
Let's say hello to Kerry now. Kerry, it's the start of another new week.
Yeah, well, the weekend held on, didn't it?
Yeah.
26s and 27s Saturday, 20s and 21s yesterday.
It was
so
lovely.
Bit of a dip, but yeah, felt nice. Lots of sunshine. Not quite the same today. We did have quite a lot of cloud around, particularly over the Pennines, but I still love this photograph. So a big thank you to John Lawrence for the share of the skies over Calderdale. So what's happening then? Our first week for some of the school holes. We've got high pressure to the southwest. We've had low pressure today. The high is actually going to stop any fronts really bothering us over the next couple of days. It's Thursday that we'll see a spell of rain, and then we keep our area or our eye on that area of high pressure as we head towards the weekend. So we're comfortably in our average temperatures at the moment, 22, which I think is much better than a heat wave which continues over Spain, where inland temperatures are around 30 or 40 degrees. Now, yesterday we said goodbye to the pollen count, but there's still pollen out there. A big thank you for all your bee photos. Of course, we say goodbye to it. The bees, the butterflies come out. Big thank you to Sue for this one. Taken at sunset, absolutely beautiful. But the pollen count, the grass pollen, continues to be high over the next couple of days. I'm after your butterfly pictures over the next few days. This is beautiful. A big thank you to Andy Coulson. And until the 4th of August, the Butterfly Conservation Charity have their big butterfly count. And there's lots more on their website. But here is your forecast for the next few days.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, OK, it's not as dry and bright and very warm as it was towards the end of last week, but despite some disappointing cloud around at times during the course of the next few days, there will be a lot of dry weather to come and actually really quite warm by midweek. It's just Thursday that is the most unsettled day of the period, and behind that, not too bad either as we head towards the weekend. So this has been the story today. A few breaks in the cloud, but to the north and west, thicker cloud and those showers being produced over the Dales and the Pennines. As we head into this evening, still the risk of a few showers, but tending to ease off. Perhaps this little cluster coming through and perhaps clipping the coastline into the early hours. But for most of us, we're dry, we're clear. A little bit of low cloud over the tops of the Pennines and the peaks in the North York Moors, but for most of us, clear spells, light winds. Despite that though, still relatively mild for towns and cities. The full moon looked beautiful over the weekend. A big thank you for your photos. 5:07 and 9:18 are your sun times as we head into tomorrow. Dry, relatively warm start, good dose of sunshine. Then middle part of the day there'll be some cloud around, slightly higher risk of catching a shower, but those showers will melt away as we head towards the evening. A lovely end to daylight hours. And in the sunshine, 22 Celsius, just a little cooler with that northerly breeze out towards the coast. We get a southerly as we head into Wednesday, and that's going to give us a mostly dry and warm day. There will be a few scattered showers in the south of the region, but for most of us, dry, sunny spells and warmer, 23, 24 Celsius. It is unsettled for a time on Thursday, but behind this system, it freshens up on Friday. Bright and breezy, just a few scattered showers.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go. Not too bad this week, just Thursday, a little blip on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start of the summer holidays, it'll be all right, won't it?
That's it. Well, that's it from us for now. I'll be back with our late news at 10:35. Hope you'll join us tomorrow night at 6. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.